Chapter 1: Undercurrents. Isabella sat in her spacious, bright living room, her fingers gently caressing her coffee cup, her eyes fixed on the neatly manicured lawn outside. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, but it couldn't dispel the gloom that lingered within her. 5 years after their marriage, this suburban villa held so many memories, but now every corner seemed to remind her of the shattered nature of her marriage. She and Marcus had once shared a sweet time, planning their future together in this living room, imagining a beautiful life. But as time went on, Marcus came home later and later, began to smell of unfamiliar perfume, and his eyes became increasingly evasive. Isabella had her doubts, but she simply refused to accept the harsh truth, until one day she stumbled upon a photograph of a woman in Marcus's coat pocket. The woman in the photo was young and beautiful, with a bright smile and a look of confidence and boldness that Isabella had never seen before. At that moment, Isabella's heart sank. She knew her worst fear had finally come true. From then on, Isabella began to monitor Marcus's every move. She noticed that Marcus often secretly made phone calls without her knowledge, chatting for long periods of time. Whenever he went out, he would dress meticulously, as if he were going on an important date. Isabella's heart was filled with anger and sadness, but she didn't impulsively confront Marcus. Instead, she chose to endure it. She knew that without sufficient evidence, rash action would only make things worse. So, Isabella began quietly collecting evidence of Marcus's infidelity. She secretly checked his phone while he was showering and discovered frequent chats between him and the woman. Their conversations filled with ambiguous and intimate details. She also followed Marcus several times and witnessed him dining with the woman in restaurants, acting intimately and completely disregarding the opinions of others. Isabella stored away all this evidence, and the hatred within her continued to grow. She looked in the mirror at her increasingly haggard self and vowed to make Marcus pay for his actions. Meanwhile, Marcus was completely oblivious to Isabella's unusual behavior. He was immersed in his passionate love affair with Samantha, his mind swamped by love and lust. Samantha was young, sexy, and full of life. A completely different kind of woman from Isabella. Marcus felt as if he had rediscovered the passion and energy of his youth with Samantha. He and Samantha went on frequent dates, dining together at upscale restaurants and taking beach vacations together. He even began to fantasize about a wonderful life after marrying her. He felt that Isabella had become dull and boring, and his time with her was like a stagnant pool, without a single ripple. Amidst Samantha's sweet words and gentle affection, Marcus completely lost himself. He forgot the vows he and Isabella had made, and the warmth and happiness this family had once brought him. He focused solely on how to escape Isabella and start a new life with Samantha. Chapter 2: A Windfall. One sunny weekend, Samantha, humming a little tune as usual, walked into the corner convenience store. As she casually picked up some snacks, she bought a few lottery tickets. For her, buying lottery tickets was just an occasional pastime, and she never expected any unexpected surprises. However, when she was bored that evening and picked up her phone to check the lottery results, she was stunned. The ticket in her hand had won the $100 million jackpot. Samantha couldn't believe her eyes. She double-checked it several times. And when she was sure it was correct, she screamed with excitement. She immediately called Marcus, her voice trembling with excitement. "Marcus, "Honey, you'll never believe what I won. I won $100 million in the lottery. We're rich, and we can live the life we've always dreamed of." Marcus was at home having dinner with Isabella when he received the call. Hearing Samantha's words, his fork clattered to the ground, and he froze. Isabella, noticing Marcus's unusual behavior, looked at him in confusion. "What's wrong, honey?" Marcus regained consciousness and frantically concealed his emotions. "Oh, nothing. A friend just played a joke on me." He stood up, excused himself to an important call, and hurriedly left the table. Marcus retreated to his study, closed the door, and eagerly called Samantha. Samantha excitedly described her winnings, and Marcus's greed was instantly ignited as he listened. He imagined him and Samantha taking the massive prize and enjoying a luxurious life around the world, living in mansions, driving luxury cars, and buying whatever they desired. In his imagination, Isabella had become a stumbling block to his pursuit of a new life. He felt that if he wanted to truly be with Samantha and live a carefree life, he had to get rid of Isabella as soon as possible. At this thought, Marcus's eyes grew determined and cold. He decided to seize this opportunity, divorce Isabella, and then take Samantha away. He believed that with the bonus, he and Samantha would be able to live a happy and fulfilling life. Chapter 3. Divorce Proposal. That night, Marcus lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Visions of him and Samantha enjoying their wealth resurfaced in his mind. While he pondered how to file for divorce from Isabella, he knew it wouldn't be easy. But for his future, he had to take the risk. The next morning, Marcus rose early. Instead of going to the office as usual, he sat at his desk and began drafting divorce papers. He knew he was acting hastily, but he couldn't wait any longer. He was determined to start a new life with Samantha as soon as possible and didn't want to waste any more time in this marriage. In his divorce agreement, Marcus stated that he was willing to leave the house and property, leaving Isabella with their shared villa, 2 cars, and all the money in their bank accounts. He felt this would both silence Isabella and demonstrate his generosity. He also believed that, with his $100 million bonus, he would soon be able to regain everything. After drafting the divorce agreement, Marcus took a deep breath and mustered the courage to go find Isabella. Isabella was in the kitchen preparing breakfast. Seeing Marcus enter, she smiled and greeted, "Honey, why are you up so early today?" Marcus didn't return Isabella's smile. With a serious expression, he walked over to Isabella and handed her the divorce agreement. "Isabella, let's get a divorce. This is the divorce agreement I've drafted. I'm willing to leave the house and all my assets will be yours." Isabella dropped the spoon in her hand with a clang. She stared at Marcus in disbelief, her eyes filled with shock and anger. "What did you say? Divorce? Why? What's wrong with our marriage?" Marcus avoided Isabella's gaze and feigned guilt, saying, "I'm sorry, Isabella. I know it's selfish of me to do this, but I truly don't love you anymore. We no longer have any feelings for each other, and this isn't good for either of us. I hope you'll understand and sign this divorce agreement." Isabella's rage burned at Marcus's hypocritical expression. She wanted to rush over and slap Marcus hard, but she suppressed her anger and said calmly, "I need some time to think about it." When Isabella didn't agree immediately, Marcus grew anxious. "Isabella, I hope you can give me an answer as soon as possible. I've made up my mind. I'm getting a divorce." With that, Marcus turned and left the kitchen, leaving Isabella standing there, stunned. Isabella watched Marcus leave, tears welling up in her eyes. She hadn't expected her beloved husband to suddenly file for divorce, and with such heartlessness. But amidst her sadness and anger, Isabella also felt a surge of relief. She was thankful that she had long since discovered Marcus's infidelity and had prepared for it. She knew now was the time to unleash her revenge. Chapter 4: Signing and handing over. For the next few days, Isabella feigned grief, weeping constantly, and her attitude toward Marcus grew cold. Meanwhile, Marcus kept urging Isabella to sign. His eyes filled with eagerness and impatience. Isabella sneered at Marcus's expression. She knew that Marcus's impatience was definitely related to that woman, but she didn't point it out, continuing to feign weakness and helplessness. Finally, under Marcus's repeated urging, Isabella agreed to sign. She looked at the divorce agreement Marcus handed her, feeling a mixture of emotions. But she suppressed her grief, picked up a pen, and signed the agreement. After signing, Isabella demanded that all property be transferred within 24 hours. She looked at Marcus coldly and said, "Since you've made up your mind, get it done as soon as possible. I want nothing to do with you anymore." Marcus was overjoyed to see Isabella finally sign. He quickly agreed to Isabella's request, eager to break free from the constraints of this marriage. For the next 24 hours, Marcus was frantic. He rushed around, handling the transfer of property ownership, vehicle transfers, and bank deposits. Isabella watched coldly from the sidelines, observing Marcus's desperate efforts to be with that woman as soon as possible. When all his property was successfully transferred to Isabella's name, Marcus finally breathed a sigh of relief. He felt he had finally gotten rid of Isabella, a burden, and could start a new life with Samantha. He packed his bags and, without looking back, left the villa he had once shared with Isabella. Isabella watched Marcus's retreating figure, a subtle smile playing on her lips. She knew that the first step of her plan had succeeded. Now, she just had to wait for Marcus to discover the truth. She would make him pay dearly for his actions. Chapter 5: The truth revealed. After leaving the villa, Marcus headed straight for Samantha's apartment. He couldn't wait to share the good news with her, to claim the prize together, and then to begin their happy life together. Samantha excitedly greeted Marcus when he arrived. "Honey, how's it going? Are the divorce papers finalized?" Marcus smiled and hugged Samantha. "It's done, honey. All our property has been given to Isabella. Now we can claim our prize and start our new life." Samantha beamed. "Great, honey. We can finally be together." Hand in hand, the two of them arrived at the Lottery Redemption Center, excited to claim their prize. However, when the staff took their tickets and carefully examined them, they were met with shocking news. The ticket was fake. Marcus and Samantha were stunned by the news. They couldn't believe their ears and repeatedly asked the staff for confirmation. But the staff assured them that the ticket was indeed fake, tampered with. Marcus and Samantha were stunned. They couldn't understand how the ticket could be fake. Samantha began to suspect Marcus. She glared at him angrily and asked, "Did you do this? You don't even want to be with me, and you deliberately gave me a fake lottery ticket to trick me." Marcus, feeling aggrieved, quickly explained, "How could I have lied to you, honey? I'm a victim too. You clearly won the lottery, so how could I have known it was fake?" The two of them engaged in a heated argument, blaming each other. Their dreams were shattered in an instant, and their once bright future was cast into darkness. Meanwhile, Isabella sat in the villa's living room, leisurely sipping coffee and watching TV. She had learned from a friend about Marcus and Samantha's encounter at the Lottery Redemption Center, and she felt secretly pleased with herself. She knew her revenge plan was halfway successful. Now, all she had to do was wait for Marcus to come find her. Chapter 6. Begging for reconciliation after a heated argument at the Lottery Redemption Center, Marcus and Samantha left in disgrace. Samantha was utterly disappointed with Marcus, feeling he had deceived her. In a rage, she parted ways with him. Marcus lost Samantha, and then all his possessions, leaving him penniless. He then realized the magnitude of his mistake and was overwhelmed with regret. In his despair and helplessness, Marcus thought of Isabella. He felt that only Isabella could save him, and only by returning to her could he regain a stable life. So, Marcus brazenly went to the villa, knelt before Isabella, and wept bitterly. "Isabella, I was wrong. I really was. I shouldn't have betrayed you. I shouldn't have been with that woman. I beg you to forgive me. To let me return to you. That lottery ticket was fake. I have nothing left now. And only you can save me." Isabella looked at Marcus, kneeling on the ground, without a trace of pity in her heart. She said coldly, "Do you think I'll ever forgive you? You abandoned me so heartlessly back then. And now you want to come back? Do you think that's possible?" Seeing Isabella unmoved, Marcus cried even harder. "Isabella, I know I've wronged you. I'm willing to spend the rest of my life making amends. Please give me another chance. I truly know I was wrong." Looking at Marcus's pitiful expression, Isabella's anger flared up again. She recalled the pain and humiliation she'd endured these days, and the sweet moments Marcus had shared with that woman. And her hatred intensified. Suppressing her anger, she said calmly, "Yes, I know." Marcus froze at Isabella's words. He looked at her with confusion, not understanding what she meant. Isabella spread her hands and said with a hint of sarcasm, "After all, I was the one who accidentally threw that lottery ticket in front of her." Marcus was struck by lightning. He finally understood that he had fallen into Isabella's trap from the beginning. He looked at Isabella, his eyes filled with fear and despair. Isabella felt a surge of joy at seeing Marcus's despair. She had finally achieved her revenge on Marcus, making him pay a heavy price for his actions. Chapter 7. A new life. Marcus left the villa in despair, his spirit completely broken. He didn't know what to do next, and his future seemed bleak. Isabella, on the other hand, completely freed herself from Marcus's clutches and began a new life of her own. She used her share of the property to renovate the villa, giving it a brand new look. She also enrolled in various hobby classes, learning painting, cooking, yoga, and other subjects to enrich her life. Isabella's friends were delighted for her. Seeing her regained confidence and joy, they praised her. Isabella gradually emerged from the shadows of the past and bravely faced the future. One sunny afternoon, Isabella sat in the villa's garden, enjoying the warm sunshine. As she gazed at the beautiful garden, a wave of emotion welled up in her heart. She knew she had endured a painful time, but it was these experiences that made her stronger and more independent. She looked up at the sky, a bright smile spreading across her face. She believed that her future would be even better and that she would find her own happiness.